Millions of years ago, a race of extraterrestrials came to planet Earth from the star Aldebaran, in the Taurus constellation. These beings colonized Earth and stayed, but they had to move into the inner Earth to a subterranean cavity located under the continent of Antarctica due to the deluge which made the surface of the Earth uninhabitable, which was caused by a dark star, the Black Sun, passing through our solar system every 3,600 years. This race of beings was called the Sumi, or Sinin. In his 1871 book entitled The Coming Race, the Rosicrucian author Edward Bulwer-Lytton described the Sinin as Oriental in appearance, having beardless faces sculpted like the Sphinx, with large, deep, brilliant black eyes, and brows arched as a semicircle. Their conformation of skull is similar to the brachycephalic type, having the same comparative massiveness of forehead, but far loftier in the apex, and far less pronounced in the back of the head. The color of their skin ranged from dark red, like that of the red man of the human race, to a much fairer complexion, with blue eyes and hair of a deep golden auburn, though still of complexions warmer and richer in tone than persons in the north of Europe. It is considered that the dark red skin showed the most ancient family of the Sinin. For clothing, they would wear tunics and large wings folded over their torso, which they could also use to fly. They also carried a slender staff of bright metal polished steel which they used to harness and control an energy called Vril. Vril energy is similar to electricity, except that it comprehends in its manifold branches other forces of nature to which in our scientific nomenclature differing names are assigned, such as magnetism and galvanism. These people consider that in Vril they have arrived at the unity in natural energetic agencies, which they can use to influence the weather, and they can exercise influence over minds, bodies, animals, and plants. They can power vehicles, flying machines, and automata using the power of Vril. They can use Vril energy to heal or to kill, to create or to destroy. They believe that it is one of the properties of the all-permeating agency of Vril to transmit to the wellspring of life and intelligence every thought that a living creature can conceive. The language that they speak is similar to the German language, and the Aryans, as children of Yakub, son of the Sinin, Lucina, are descendants from these beings, products of the Black Sun, which is symbolized by the swastika. On October 31, 1895, I, Maria Orsic, was born in Vienna, Austria. I was born gifted with psychic and telepathic powers, and I was in telepathic contact with the Sinin, the wielders of the Vril energy, and taken into the inner earth as a child. In the year 1917, I founded the All-German Society for Metaphysics, which later became called the Society of Vril Women, which was an all-female circle of psychics and mediums who could telepathically channel and contact extraterrestrials. The 5 original members were myself, Maria Orsic, along with Sigran, Trout, Gudrun, and Heike. We all wore our hair exceptionally long in a ponytail because we believed our long hair acted as a cosmic antenna to receive extraterrestrial communication from beyond. We taught concentration and meditation exercises designed to raise and cultivate Kundalini, to awaken and harness the forces of Vril energy which lie dormant in the human body. Some people considered us witches, and our rituals were considered sex magic, as we would writhe with orgasmic spasms where our eyes would roll back into our head showing only the whites, and our head would fling backward with our mouth agape during our channeling sessions. We would also levitate and produce ectoplasm from our body which contained Vril energy. The legend of our abilities spread throughout Europe, and in December 1919, we were invited to a secret meeting of the most respected occultists in Europe at the time. The guest of this meeting included representatives from the Knights Templar, the Thule Society, the Lords of the Black Stone, and Sigran, and I went to represent the Vril Society. During this meeting, I was able to go into a trance in an altered state to channel communication in the form of automatic writing from the beings from Aldebaran. While acting as a medium and receiving the communication, I produced several pages of text with strange symbols. There were members of the group present at the meeting who could translate and decode the symbols, and it was determined that one set of symbols was written in a secret script of Templar code, while the other set of symbols was written in the ancient Sumerian alphabet. Once the messages were translated, the texts provided valid instructions and the technical data on how to build an anti-gravity engine for a flying machine powered by Vril energy. German physicists reviewed the potential of the designs and found the schematics to be based on viable science, and the texts were detailed enough so that the engine could be built and tested. The anti-gravity engine also had the ability to alter time. The Thule Society was heavily influenced by the Theosophical Society and doctrine of Madame Helena Blavatsky, while the Vril Society was made up of all women and was primarily focused on making contact, learning from, and potentially achieving space flight to visit extraterrestrial worlds. The focus of the Thule Society was made up of mostly men focused on mediumship and finding alternative sciences to the Industrial Revolution that affected the German population. The Vril anti-gravity free energy engine which I channeled was a mechanism which could meet the aims of the Vril and Thule societies. The anti-gravity engine was intended to be a gift to humanity so that humans could have energy that would be plentiful and wars and competition for resources would be unnecessary. The Vril Society, Thule Society, Knights Templar, and Men of the Black Stone joined forces to seek financial support from wealthy industrialists to build the Vril anti-gravity free energy engine which I channeled. The women of the Vril Society were extremely efficient at persuading men to do our bidding. The succubus psychic girls of the Vril Society were able to seduce male industrialists during our seance rituals to contribute finances to fund our ambitious program involving an interdimensional flight machine based on my psychic revelations. In time, the Thule Society was able to sponsor the DAP, which later was reorganized by Adolf Hitler into the NDAP, National Socialist German Workers' Party or Nazi Party. This is the occult origin of Nazi mysticism. The women of the Vril Society predicted the coming of Adolf Hitler, and Vril and Thule grew to become an elite inner circle of the Nazi Party. Between 1922 and the 1940s, the Nazis constructed several anti-gravity flying machines including the Honeyblue, Die Glocke, and the Vril. In 1944, we had a meeting between Himmler, and the Vril Society to discuss the Aldebaran project which involved sending a Vril 7 ship through a dimensional channel on a trip to the habitable planets around the Sun Aldebaran. On March the 11th, 1945, I sent an internal document to members of the Vril Society which simply stated, "No one is staying here," and shortly after, later that same year, the Vril Circle and I mysteriously disappeared. Some people believe we escaped to Aldebaran. Some people believe we colonized the dark side of the moon. Some people believe we went into the hollow earth through an entrance in Antarctica. And some people believe we were taken to the USA in Operation Paperclip. The reality is that we did all of these things and more. During Operation Paperclip, the Nazi scientists who built Vril anti-gravity engines became NASA scientists who built rocket ships. During the course of events from 1919 to 1945, I always appeared to look about 20 years old. This is because I do not age, as I was taken into the hollow earth and exposed to Vril energy as a child. In 1975, I returned to Earth, calling myself Sem Jorsey. I communicated with a man named Billy Myers to spread the wisdom of my universal mission to bring in the age of Aquarius, the coming of the new age.